This is just a bit of an impromptu message, I guess you could say. I was sitting here watching Moon Omens, and the person was speaking about this full moon energy and it being in Pisces, and the Virgo energy that's accompanying it and things of that nature. It's a really good article, video. I posted the article already, but I'm going to post the video in the description box. But she was speaking about how she gave the example of a meme she saw that was saying, I asked ChatGPT, but did you ask the forest? I asked ChatGPT, but did you ask your inner child? Like things like that. And I began to think, because our world is transitioning into AI. And I'm one of those people who are not too fond of that energy, but it's a reality. And so when things are shifting and changing, which is another topic she was speaking on, like you do have to shift into the change. But I've also been given messages on that as well. Things are changing whether we like it or not. And then you have to figure out, okay, how do I transition into this energy that is inevitably upon us, is how that's coming through. 144 as I say that. When I was younger, like I used to be anxious about these changes. And I remember when music was changing, how we got our music, and it was transitioning into the CDs. And I was like, I'm not buying CDs. I was so against CDs. And inevitably, I was walking around with a Discman and buying CDs and things of that nature. And so you just understand that things are going to change. Now, how do I shift into the change? And when you resist change, then it's harder. Now, I'm not saying that you have to comply and conform and things of that nature, but when your world around you is changing, you have to figure out, how do I continue to be me, but adjust to this new way? And I have been given messages on about things changing and how people were not comfortable with change, predominantly in the spiritual community. But as we are transitioning into everything turning into AI supported, AI generated, however you want to word that, there's going to be a point in time where people will feel like they're losing their identity because AI is taking over. Okay. But in that beginning example that I was giving about, okay, well, did you ask your inner child? Did you ask your whatever? When AI takes over, we're going to be guided back to self. Okay. Your identity is going to come into question, but it's the transition that we're going through now. Okay. Especially in the eclipse energy where things are being taken away from us. Okay. The universe is doing what it does to move us through the change, but you may not see it that way. Okay. When the like all the, and I feel like it's my energy because it's the negative way that I looked at AI in the beginning. So all these negative words want to come out, and I'm not going to say them 444 as I say that, because now I look at AI in a different way. Okay. And because I'm not too technologically advanced, I almost couldn't even get the word out, but because I'm not technologically advanced, I shied away or still shy away from these type of things. But in the grand scheme of things, I see the importance in AI. But there's always some type of balance. And I feel that in the coming of age of AI, there's a need for it and an importance in such a way that we're able to take a break and get back to ourselves. Okay? All right, back to the basics. I've been giving that message since I've been on social media. It's been the message of coming through of getting back to basics. And how do we get back to basics? Okay? Where I once looked at as AI taking over and dominating and all these things, many people may still look at it as that 555. As things change, your perception will also have to change. And going with the flow is such a message because many things we don't have control over. If we as a whole human beings need to get back to ourselves, back in touch with ourselves, our intuition, you can consult ChatGPT, but you also need to consult your intuition. Okay, you can consult AI, but you also need to consult your spirit guides. There's such a level of balance that needs to come into play. Now, when we speak about AI coming into such a huge role in our lives, jobs will be lost. And that's the reality of it. And like I said, many people will feel like they're losing their identity. But if you take it from a different perspective as I'm gaining something from this, because you just won't be out on the streets like I'm not valuable anymore is what I want to say. Just from me observing things, it's this artificial intelligence will now be able to be incorporated in a way that will allow you to rest and get back to basics, get back to your natural self, get back to your spiritual self, your authentic way of living. An energy of you being able to pour back into yourself without being depleted by a 9-to-5 where you feel like you're half dead anyway. Something people complain about having no job, and then they get a job, and then they complain about the job. It's like this repetitive cycle of, I need this, but I don't want to go to this hellhole to survive, to live. Okay? It's the best way I can put that. And like I said, as an observer, I see all angles. But I found it very interesting that she brought up that example of people being so into AI, and there's so many people talk about the 3D, 5D shift split, and there's so many splits is what everybody is not seeing, I feel. This is where balance comes into play. 911, as I say that, judgment is where good judgment comes into play. It's about understanding how you fit in the grand scheme of things and remaining with integrity, acting with integrity, and moving from a place of morality as we move through these shifts and changes is what will make the difference, I feel. So with that being said, that was just a little what's on my mind at this hour, I guess you could say. But like I said, that video is in the pinned comments below if you want to check it out. It's a very good video that explains a lot of what's going on with this full moon lunar eclipse energy that we are in as of March 3rd, 2026. So with that being said, this is the message. May it have been helpful in the way you need it most. Take care.